Welcome to the CreditSense Credit Report tutorial series. In this tutorial, we'll be reviewing the CoreLogic Credco 3-bureau merged mortgage credit report. Okay, that's a mouthful, but this is a very important report, and it's only one of literally dozens and dozens of mortgage credit reports out there. But Credco and CoreLogic are expanding their operations and are significantly improving credit reporting for mortgage brokers and mortgage lenders. And so we want to make sure that this is one of the credit reports that we review for the purposes of you understanding exactly how to read the credit report and read it like a mortgage broker would read it. All right, so let's get into it. First of all the information, private information has been covered over, but what we're going to run into is at the very beginning, we have the individual's name, their current address, social security number, and their age or date of birth. Now, on the very first page, there's what's called the red flag compliance information, which means that there are, for example, identity information, that there's variation between the input date of birth and the on-file date of birth, variations between addresses. Current addresses is being used multiple times. So this is the section where the red flags all pop up and say, is this the right person? And we want to know exactly how our mortgage brokers are going to look at our credit files. That's the whole point, especially if you're a CreditSense credit optimization client. We want to take control of our credit profiles. We want to know what they're saying, and if there are any errors, we want to correct those errors so that when we have our credit pulled for a mortgage, a car, a piano loan, credit cards, whatever it is that we're going after, we want to know exactly what our service providers, the mortgage brokers, car dealers, etc., we want to know exactly what they're going to run into. All right, so here is the red flags that come here at the beginning. And other information, like this person has a creditor closed account within 180 days. Now, if you're a CreditSense client, we have an entire worksheet on creditor closed accounts. So this is a perfect example. This is exactly what you need to know, is that creditor closed accounts matter. Even though FICO.com, everybody says nobody cares, it wouldn't be listed here under red flags unless it mattered. So this is a perfect indicator as to why we do what we do. Now, it's also saying that there are 5 accounts with maxed balances. So a mortgage broker is going to look at this very first page and say, we may have some challenges up against us in getting this person a loan. All right, now we're going to continue to the second page. And again, the applicant information is listed at the top, but they're giving us some warnings. And under the alerts, under social security number, they're showing 1. Under addresses, they're showing 4. No telephones, no driver's license numbers. So there's a total of 6 data pieces here when there should only be 1, 2, 3, and 4. What's interesting is this again shows us why having a credit identity, a singular credit identity, is so important. Because when a mortgage broker in the case of this credit report, a mortgage broker is going to make decisions based on our identity. How long we've lived at a certain place, how long our phone number has been in use. All of those things matter. And so that's why we have an entire step in the 8 Steps to 800 program so that you can work out your credit identity. Over here under identity, there shows the types and the variations. We have a match, but there's a variation under the address and under the date of birth and the age. So they're saying that there are variations here, and they need to watch out for this particular borrower and make sure they are who they say they are. And then data source information, Fraud Shield, they're saying that there's an alert under the Fraud Shields because enough of these are different from what's on file to create an alert. And that's important for us to know. All right, let's continue down. What are those alerts? Well, the first one under Social Security is there's multiple Social Securities on file for this consumer. So says Experian anyway. Addresses, inquiry, current address reported as non-residential, according to Experian. On-file current address is reported as non-residential, according to Experian. And variation between inquiry and on-file address. And all three credit bureaus say that that is true. So each one of these alerts are explained in this section. All right, and a variation between inquiry and the on-file age or date of birth is being reported by all three bureaus. So this client has some significant cleaning up to do of their identity, and that's all part of step 2 in our 8 Steps to 800 program. Okay, continuing. The rest of the ProScan alerts. Inquiry was issued in the state of Utah. No bureau fraud alerts are detected. And then they estimate the age when the Social Security number was obtained. Most people don't know, but the first 3 digits usually indicate a state. The second 2 digits indicate a year. And then the last 4 digits are always randomly assigned, and that goes with the individual. All right. Continuing. Now, here's the actual beginning of the instant merged credit report. Okay. And it's showing that we requested all 3 bureaus and they delivered all 3 bureaus. The applicant information, again, is at the top. So here is the account summary, the credit summary. Account distribution, here's the real estate accounts. There are 4 of them with no balances. Installment accounts are 28 with 23,000 and change in balances. And revolving, there's 10 with balances of $753. All other accounts total 3,000 and change. So there's 47 accounts and 27,000 and change as the balance. Now the current status shows where they are in their payment history and their payment fidelity. So when it comes to the real estate loans, there are no current ones and all 4 of them are closed. 8 installment accounts are current and 20 of them are closed. Revolving accounts show that there are 3 revolving accounts that are current, 6 are closed, and 1 is unreported. They don't know. Again, that gives us cause to put this on our dispute list. And then down here, notice there's 30, 60, and 90 days late. And among the other accounts, there are 5 other accounts, and those are 90 plus days late. And of the 47 total, they're showing us that those same 5 are 90 plus days late. Revolving available credit is 32%, so that's available credit. So that would make 68% utilization, because utilization is the balance. Here they're doing the reverse and calling it available credit. For CreditSense clients, you will recognize the available credit as on your worksheets in step 5 in optimizing your revolving accounts. Now there's inquiries over a 12-month total of 4, and there were none pulled the same day. So adjusted total is a total of 6. So notice that any that are pulled the same day are automatically combined. Public records, we show Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion each show 2. And in the last 2 years, there are no new public records. Now, that's important because for mortgages, 24 months is the cutoff date for a lot of things. Some mortgages are available after 24 months. If you haven't had any new public records or any new collections within the last 24 months, it will state it here, and you can have a higher chance of qualifying for that mortgage. All right, historical delinquencies show in real estate, there was 13 30s, 12 60s, and 8 90 pluses. The installment loans, revolving loans, all of them indicate the same, for a total of what your derogatories end up looking like between all account types. All right, and now if you're a CreditSense client, this is very instructive because this is your impediments to an 850 credit score. So everything that's listed here is what's holding you back from perfect credit. So we have the Equifax data, Experian, and on the next page is the TransUnion. We'll get there in a second. So in your workbooks, CreditSense clients will see the table of all of the factors that are in your way of having a perfect credit score. So Here, there's serious delinquencies, derogatories, time since delinquency is too recent, proportion of balances, etc. So if you're a CreditSense client, you will also see the solutions to these problems or these impediments are listed in your step 1 materials. All right, so here we have the factors listed all at one place, and then they're listed out here. There are always 4 listed unless inquiries is included, and then there will be a total of 5. So under Experian, there's too many inquiries, as we've seen in previous credit report analysis. There's on some credit reports, it's showing that there's a total of 6 inquiries for Experian for this client during this period. And then the same is down here for TransUnion. We have the factors listed up here, and those factors are listed here. Now, remember, there were only 2 TransUnion inquiries, but they're saying number of inquiry adversely affect the score. And in step 7, CreditSense clients will come to understand how to make that happen so that you are protecting your credit score and not having this red flag come up as a result of the number of inquiries that you use. All right, let's continue down. And here are the derogatory items. They are listed first in this particular credit report in no particular order. So action collection agency, notice here above this gray line is the legend. So there's date reported, credit highest, data was opened, limit. So here's the date reported, here's the date open, here's the highest credit or the limit. Here's the information of what type of account that it was past due. All right. And it's showing that the data source is Experian and Equifax. Now, this number right here is actually the subscriber information. That's the digital code for who is doing the reporting. So Action Collection Service has a subscriber code known as that. So continuing, we have Bonneville Billing, America First Credit Union. Each one of these are showing, using the legend above, what the dates open, dates closed, who is doing the reporting of each one. And sometimes, like up here, there was only Equifax and Experian who are reporting the Action Collection Service, but Bonneville Billing is being reported by all 3. So those discrepancies are important to note, especially if you're a CreditSense client. Put these discrepancies in your step 3 worksheets so that you can list what you're going to dispute, or if we're doing it for you, what you're going to have us dispute on your behalf. So each one of these accounts are numbered, and all of the information available here shows you exactly what the status of this account is being reported. Again, you use this credit report to compare with the 3 main reports, the consumer disclosures that come directly from the 3 credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Now, I would like to go back one little section. We forgot to discuss that notice these interesting names, Beacon 5, FICO 2, and for TransUnion it's called FICO Classic 4. These are different versions of the software that were developed by FICO.com, Fair Isaac Company. They were developed to run on the credit bureau databases. So it's filtering software. And to just give a simple explanation, imagine the databases as independent files that are being filtered through software that's sitting on the desktop of, in this case, your mortgage broker. So the credit score does not exist up in the credit bureau databases. It's always applied wherever you're getting your file pulled from. If you're pulling it from the internet, when it does its calculations, it's filtering the data through calculation software and it's coming up with the number on the fly. Well, these individual scores are all FICO scores. So as FICO scores, even though it says Beacon, that's just the trade name for the score software that was developed for, in this case, Equifax. So these are FICO scores. They are not FICO scores. They are legitimate scores that use the FICO algorithm. So we want to use these scores to help us analyze what our FICO scores are so that we can compare. And if you're a CreditSense client, you'll know that there's an exercise and software that is designed to help you reconcile your FICO scores with these FICO scores so that you can predict, without having to pull a mortgage credit report all the time, you can predict generally what your estimated FICO score will be. So I just wanted to bring to our attention that these are FICO scores. All right, so continuing, we can go through several pages of all of these derogatories, but it's showing us what types of accounts that these are, how many times late they have been. In the payment history, notice all of these ones, and a 2 means that it was 30 days late on 3 of 12. So that's what, when you see those long lines, that's what you will find. Let's take a look at another one. Here is a GMAC mortgage. It was a second mortgage, and notice that it was super late. So we have 60, 90, goes all the way from 1. There's the 30, 60, 30, 60, 90, 120, 180, even longer. So 3 times 90, all of this information tells us that how many times. It was 7 times 60 days late on 12, 9, 10, 9, etc. So, and notice it's even saying, oh, there are additional lates. We can't even fit everything in this particular. So they truncate it in order to fit into this area. All right, so let's continue down to the next section, which the final level of derogatory accounts are the public records. And so we have 2 public records reported by all 3 bureaus for the various amounts, the case numbers, docket, who it goes through it, everything. Now notice we have the end of derogatory items, and it starts the positive credit history. Again, in no specific order, but it has the exact same legend up here at the top, and every single one of these that are positive, paid off, paid in full, etc. So we go through, and notice I1 stands for installment, and 1 means that it's current. There are no 30 days or anything else. Notice times past due, 30, 60, 90 are all blank. All right, and this is a month's on record. This is a 5-month, but this is 37 months. This is 1 month. So R stands for, here, R1 stands for revolving 1. That's because there are no 30 days late. But notice also we have Equifax and TransUnion are reporting those. Equifax and TransUnion reporting that one, but only Equifax here and only Experian here. Now, as you can see, just like this one was 5 and has the 5 here, this is the most they go back is 24 months to see how many derogatories or lates might have occurred during that 24-month period. Again, that 24-month period is very important, and as a CreditSense client, you will know from the education pieces that you've done and the studying that you've done, all the DVDs, that 24 months is extremely powerful period. So we want to make sure that we look for anything that might be inconsistent. It's a total of 37 months old, but it is 24 months is what they're looking, the look back period is, to see how well this account has performed. All right, now notice here's a revolving account, but it's a U, which means it's unrated. They don't have enough information from this JCPenney. It's actually a lost card, and so that lost card is being unrated because it technically is a trade line, but it does not have any payment history to it or otherwise, because it's a notation to all creditors that this particular account was closed because the card was lost or stolen. All right, so continuing down, notice it shows this next account is an education loan. The term was for 120 months. It's 33 months old. It's current. There are no derogatories to it. But notice on month 3 and probably around month 19, there was some unrated, or they didn't know what to call it. So that's what those dashes represent. So we just want to make sure that they did not list this in the adverse account or the derogatory account section, but it is interesting to note that there were 2 months in the last 24 months that they did not know how to rate it. All right, so continuing back notice that Experian, here's a Nelnet education loan, and is being reported by Experian here. And here we have Experian, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. So once again, it's so important to realize that this loan, it's only being reported to Experian, and that is significantly skewing the account values and the credit score values because they're not reporting the same account. And these are positive accounts, so they would help very generously on the other two credit bureaus and the other two credit scores, but they're not being reported to those. All right, now we're going down. As we go down, we're running into the closed accounts. The open accounts were listed up above, and so all of these closed accounts show the same exact information. You want to look and compare these against the consumer disclosures available from each of the three credit bureaus through annualcreditreport.com, if that's where you got them from. All right, now let's go into the identification information. Notice that they're saying that for this name, the Social Security number matches. So we have the Social Security. You'll want to check yours to make sure that they're all the same. And that is being reported by Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. It shows the 4 inquiries that were made within the last 12 months, and 2 were from TransUnion, 2 were from Experian, and none were from Equifax, and that's why there were no impediments related to inquiries. But even as many as 2 inquiries per credit bureau within the last 12 months show up as derogatories. All right, now addresses. There are a total of 5 addresses being listed. This first address, Salt Lake City address, is listed for Experian and TransUnion. The Lehigh is Equifax only. Murray is listed as Experian only. So you can see that all of these former addresses and even the current address are all being listed by different bureaus. This is bad. As a CreditSense client, step number 2 is about creating a point-producing credit identity. So all of that section is dedicated to ensuring that these go away or that they are minimized because you create a purposefully designed credit identity. All right. Now, we talked about the AKAs before. Here, they show up under the name of Ray, but down here we have K, which is a complete misnomer, and also a Luciana. Both of them being reported by Experian. So we want to make sure that your aliases, just like your addresses, are all handled in step 2, building a point-producing credit identity. All right, now, the employment information will be helpful later. If you're a CreditSense client, of course, we're going to want to establish a solid history of your employment that's going to support you getting business lines of credit and business loans for any business that you are attempting to establish, age, and build legitimacy with. And then finally, here is one of the best of all of the credit reports. This actually is one of the best and most concise directories. So you will take this information, and many times when you get a PDF, you can actually just select the entire thing and paste it into an Excel spreadsheet, and that will help you create your creditor directory. Now, your implementation plan has a place for you to write it in, or you can download from the README First document in your kit. You can get from the CreditSense website a Excel spreadsheet so that you can put all of this information in. You will be contacting these creditors as you proceed through your 8 Steps to 800 credit optimization program. All right, and finally, here are the data source contacts. So for Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, here are the addresses that you can contact them at and their telephone numbers. Now, as I indicated, in each of the consumer disclosures that we reviewed for Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax that are available through annualcreditreport.com or directly from each credit bureau, you want to use the address and phone number that is on that credit report. They change. And since Each credit report has a file number. That file number relates with a particular phone number and address. So you want to dispute, you want to call the number listed on those independent consumer disclosures. If you can't do anything else, then go ahead and use these numbers as you need to. But since you have those consumer disclosures directly from the bureaus, it is best to use those particular reports. All right, that brings to a conclusion our review of how to read and understand the CoreLogic 3-Bureau Mortgage Credit Report.